Hey guys, you're watching Black Desk Media, and on today's episode, we are talking about a whole slew of things. We're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. We're talking about Batman and DC Universe, maybe Universal's Water Park, and quite a bit of few other things. But today's episode is a little special because, as you notice, we are not doing a full. We're doing more of a voiceover approach, and aside from that, I have my good friend Chris here, and welcome aboard, Chris, Black Desk Media.
So. Yeah, happy to be here. It's going to be great.
All right, so first things first, let's talk about Pirates of the Caribbean 5. I wonder where we should start. Because I have thoughts, and I know you have thoughts.
Yeah,
we differ on a lot of things.
I want to backtrack and say one of my favorite memories is going to the movie theater and seeing Pirates 1 in theaters.
Okay.
At that point, let's backtrack to this point. There had been a movie that came out that was based on a Disney theme park attraction. It was The Country Bears.
Okay.
And it was... I still haven't seen it. I heard it was so bad.
Of course.
It did abysmally at the box office. So when all of a sudden, going to the movies that December of 2002, and you know how they have the big cardboard cutouts?
Of course.
It was that scene, that awesome scene, of the skeleton...
Of course.
Driving the wheel
right.
with the storm, and at the bottom was Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, and it looked really cool. My expectations were in the toilet because Disney, my whole life growing up, Disney was not known for their live action movies.
Of course,
they do The Rookie, they do Miracle, the sports ones would do okay, but any other Disney live action movie like George of the Jungle,
right,
they weren't that good.
Right.
You know, like for its time, like yeah, Brendan Fraser, a couple laughs, but overall. If it was a live-action Disney movie, it wasn't going to be that good.
Get more like family comedies too, like Mighty
Yes.
Ducks.
Yes. The Parent Trap, which was a good Disney movie.
Of course. Both were.
Yeah.
I think both Parent Traps are great movies.
I was also, like Jungle to Jungle, not a good movie.
No.
You know what I mean? The Santa Claus live-action Disney movie.
Of course.
Santa Claus 2 and 3, though.
Right.
That's like Pirates 2, 3, 4.
Right.
Where it's just like, they totally missed. And Pirates 1 was a great movie.
Right.
One of the amazing things about that movie, there are a ton of special effects in that movie.
Yeah.
But you don't really see them.
Of
the
course.
only time you see them, and it's so not uninvasive, is when the whole moonlight aspect. Mm-hmm. And impressive. You go back and watch that movie, it still looks good. It was dark. It's just like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. It was done under dark circumstances. They weren't in the light. And other than that, like, there's no other visual effects that, like, you see. You know what I mean? Like, everything else is, like, him actually sinking on a boat coming into port.
Right.
Them fighting in the rafters.
Mm-hmm.
Of course there was stuff that they used CG for, but it looked so believable.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're fighting in a wheel, and the wheel is going 50 feet in the air and somehow
down
landing.
the hill.
Even at the beginning where they're swinging across this thing, it just got so far-fetched. And they did what... They start dragging stories. Pirates 2... there's no story in Pirates 2.
Of course.
It's just setting up Pirates 3.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates 1 is its own entire movie. Pirates 4 is its own entire movie. But, like, Pirates 4 was the promise of, we got a new director.
Uh-huh.
Even if you didn't like 2 and 3, 4 is going to be better.
Okay.
And it wasn't.
Cool. Oh, man.
and now I'm really worried about 5. Because, again, 1, I would rather watch 1 4 times in a row than have to watch 2, 3, or 4.
Of course.
1 is a great movie. There's a story arc, and I've talked with you about this before. Jack Sparrow is not the main character in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
Who is?
Will.
Will is the main character. He's the protagonist. Even Elizabeth, to some extent.
Of course.
But Will Turner is the protagonist of Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Barbossa and Sparrow, particularly Sparrow, that is a tornado that they so happen to come across.
Right.
In their journey.
Of course.
You know what I mean? He's the Tin Man or the Scarecrow.
Right.
He is not Dorothy. Dorothy is Will. And they completely screwed it up throughout the whole thing because Jack Sparrow made and he was the one that sold the merch and he was funny and all that. It's just like Cars 2. Mater was not the main character in Cars. It was Lightning McQueen. And the second that Lightning McQueen became a side character,
Of course.
you gave the movie, you moved it from Mickey to being the whole focus on Goofy.
Of course.
And that's not what it was meant to be. And oh man, 2 and 3 are bad.
Right.
They're bad movies. 4 was a bad movie. I'm worried about 5.
Right.
5 looks like it's going to be so much special effects again.
Uh-huh.
We're going back to the whole dead crew thing, which we've seen twice now.
True.
We've seen it with the Moonlight, really shows us who we are. We saw it with Davy Jones's crew.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't work either of those times. Well, it worked the first time, right? The second time, not so much. And the thing that kills me is I don't know the actor's name. He's from For No Men.
Javier Bardem?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is a great actor.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
We know he can play a good villain. And
course.
from No Country for Old Men.
Oh, yeah.
We know he can play a good villain. But that doesn't mean this is going to be good.
Right.
This looks bad.
Of course.
It looks bad. Everything about it so far, to me, looks bad.
Right.
I know Will Turner's coming back. That's great.
Yeah.
But they already, to me, his character's already done.
Right.
They already screwed it up. I don't know what there could be. In my perfect universe, Pirates 2 would have been Will and Jack. Jack acting like a Will.
Of course.
Because Bootstrap Bill was dead.
Of course.
Jack knew him. Jack is 10, 15 years older. Well, more. 15, 20 years older than him.
Uh-huh.
So it would have been perfect for him to take on the role of father. Plus, you saw Will becoming a pirate at the end of Pirates 1.
Right.
So who better to teach him the pirate way? So they got a love triangle, which made no sense at all.
Yeah.
So those are my... What do I think about Pirates 5?
Right.
I think just so far from what I've seen of this whole burnt out looking crew, where they looks like they were all caught fire at some point. Like even the parrot, they're all just like embers.
Uh-huh.
It looks bad.
Yeah.
It looks bad. And he's got blue... They're after Jack again for some reason.
Yeah.
Great.
Probably has a promise.
Yeah.
So he can't get out of it.
He can't get out of it again.
He does get out of it 6 times in the movie.
The thing that killed me was in Pirates 1, Jack didn't run from anything. He ran into. You know what I mean? If there was a storm over there, he didn't run from it. He ran into it. 2 and 3?
Yeah, he was a little bit more courageous. His plans that he made were more aggressive than defensive.
In 2 and 3, it's always just arms flailing, running away from something.
Of course.
For comedic purpose. Whereas in Pirates 1, he'd run into something, and you'd be like, this guy doesn't even have a plan.
Right.
But he did.
Of course.
And he outsmarted everyone.
Right.
Now he's a goofus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good word.
He's a goofus.
Yeah.
And I'm attached to this cannon. I'm going to light it, and I'm going to somehow fling myself. No, that's stupid.
Right.
Whereas in Pirates 1, this guy's he's got no plan.
No.
And he had a plan.
Yeah.
And it was that was the payoff, was this guy who you thought was ridiculous. You never knew whose side he was really on.
Right.
Is he actually helping Will? Or is he not? Or is he just helping himself?
Right.
So that's sort of my thought on 5.
I think it's very interesting because, I know we've talked before, and I had a very different experience with this franchise to begin with. Right off the bat, when the first one came out, I'd never been to Disney World before.
Okay.
So I had no idea what Pirates of the Caribbean was.
Yeah.
And when I was marketed, again, remembering this was on the tail end of Lord of the Rings. Where we were seeing special effects take a new leap. We were seeing large armies. We were seeing all this, the authenticity to fantasy characters. And the movie that I was in a way pitched was a dark pirate movie where they were also skeletons, and I thought, hell yeah, this is gonna be so awesome. And then I went and saw the movie, and I remember for the most part being bored the whole time and a little disappointed in how much comedy there was. Not a funny movie, but for me it was too silly.
Yep.
Now when we get to 2, I don't remember how I felt about 2. I think I just didn't really care, and definitely looking back in retrospect now, like you said, it's a waste of time. It's just a setup for 3. It just goes in circles the whole movie. I know the movie starts out with Jack Sparrow, you can't get through this task. There's no way you can pay back the debt. You can't get out of this one. 5 minutes later, you're out of it. So every moment of tension or suspense is inflated moments later by a joke or a quip. I am one of the very few that like the third one. I know it's a dumb movie. I watched a little bit the other day. And yeah, it's pretty stupid.
Did not hold up as well.
But for me, there are more cool parts in it than the other 2. At the beginning when they're singing the song. I don't know why they're singing the song. It's a cool song, and I like it. Great way to open up that movie, I feel. 4 is freaking terrible. I don't think that there's anyone in their right mind who would like 4.
It's bad.
3 maybe cool things. The mermaids, the ships in the bottle, that's really it. Like, other than that, I can't think of anything else.
And again, the promise of 4 was if you didn't think 2 and 3 was that good, 4 is going to be great.
Right.
Because they brought in, I think it was the director of Chicago, which did, like, to me meant nothing. Like, that's someone who directed a Broadway musical. I don't know why this one's going to be great.
Right.
It wasn't. Gore Verbinski did 1, 2, and 3. I think he's doing 5. I don't know who's directing 5.
I'm gonna talk about that.
Okay.
So now we're at 4. The movie's crap. We can all agree on that. For sake of argument, I can agree and see eye to eye that the first one's the best. It's been a while since I've seen it, but okay, so 1's the best. 3 in a row after that have been terrible.
Yeah.
We both know that they made 1. After 1, they went to the writers and said, "Hey, what else you got?" And they responded with, "That was it. We don't have any more stories to tell. There's nothing else we want." And they're, the pressure or whatever you want to call it to make more movies, and that kind of is why that they're not very good. So with all that in play, now we have the 5th Pirates. From our first glance, I'm not gonna lie, I thought the teaser and the trailer tonight on the Super Bowl, my first initial response is, wow, that's kind of badass looking. Is specifically speaking to the part where you're underneath them and they're running across the water. For me, that's the equivalent of the pirates walking underneath the water under the boats. That was the same feeling. But if we take all that into perspective of the history that they have, let's look at this too. There's 2 directors on it. What have they directed? Basically nothing. They directed a handful of movies. One of them called Banditas. I can't even remember the rest of them. That's not even the best part. The bigger picture here is that the studio. Who's the studio? Disney's the studio. You and I both know Disney.
Studio. Yep.
It's a great company, but this is the same studio that okayed The Lone Ranger.
Alice 2.
Alice 2. It's the same company that okayed freaking Tomorrowland, John Carter. It's the same studio. It's the same people that said, this is okay, so are these okay.
Going back to what we were saying before about Disney live-action movies, and that's eliminating, take away Marvel and Lucasfilm from that. I'm talking about just Disney Studios, not Marvel, not Lucasfilm, Disney Studios. There's not a whole lot of hits in that live action space. There's not.
Right.
I'd say the only hit, and it has bred this franchise is Pirates 1.
Right.
That's in the last 20 years.
Right. So you have the studio. Okay, so we know that their opinion isn't the best. Maybe they've hired a director that maybe they're super talented and they might let them have full reins. Who are the directors? Ask some guys never heard of. Okay, let's extend our reach a little bit further. Because I looked into this today because I was a little curious. I was like, okay, the preview looks cool. I wonder. Maybe they will. Maybe they've learned their lesson.
Okay.
I highly doubt it. Yeah. But let's see what they got. Let's see what the pieces they got going with. So the writers, they wrote a few movies. They wrote Catch If You Can, The Terminal. I like those movies.
It's not the same writers as 1.
No.
2 and 3, right?
No.
And 4.
It's
not
not
the same writers. Okay.
It's not. Not the same directors and not the same writers. So the writers, they got Catch If You Can and Terminal. Okay, great movies. In addition to that,
oh god,
one of the most hated movies of all time.
So that's what's scary about writers is like sometimes you'll like those are 2 of my favorite. Like I love those movies.
Great movies.
Yeah, but then what else is on that list?
You're gonna love this.
Okay.
And I know there were other people on this movie and 2 people that are definitely to blame before anybody else. They wrote Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh god.
So
I hate that movie so much.
if you're into these movies, that's fine. Whatever, fine. These are the pieces that you're set with.
Yeah.
Let's even just take Disney out of the picture. Let's forget that they write off yes or no on a lot of stuff. I understand, but fine.
You know what? Crystal Skull, because that was a George Lucas project.
Of course.
And it's kind of like what he says goes.
Of course.
So they could have written one of the best movies ever.
They could have.
And he could have very easily gone in and be like, no, aliens.
Yeah.
And he's going to survive in a lead-lined fridge.
Right.
Like, because my girlfriend had never seen the Star Wars prequels.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been going back and watching 1, 2, and 3 days.
Yeah.
They are so bad.
Oh, yeah.
And the blame is on Luke. Not to say he surrounded himself but he was surrounded by yes men.
Of course.
And the same thing, if I was working on a script for Lucas.
Well, I think, like you said, I think they pushed back on a lot of stuff, but he said no.
Yeah, those movies they're terrible movies. they're terrible movies.
Yeah, they're bad.
There's not even a plot.
Wow. Yeah.
So those are the writers that they got for Pirates.
So yeah, like so that's the team you have. Yeah. Now you could hope there's going to be this great movie. Like I said, you have one good movie against three bad movies. Your odds are not in your favor of another good movie. And then also, what was something they had in that trailer that was also successful for another trailer this year? Johnny Cash song, like they had for Logan. Now, I know the song in the Logan trailer was essentially a Nine Inch Nails song covered by Johnny Cash, but same concept,
right?
Yeah. So there's that, and then this will be on another video I'll talk about later. But here's the studio that okays mediocre bad films. That's enlisting these people to make films is the same company that thinks that they know what they're going to do with a masterpiece, and they're going to do a masterpiece, and that's of course there's a lot more I can say about that, but that's that's kind of where I'll leave it. But yeah, that's just really where do you go from there? I don't know if anybody really wanted another Pirates of the Caribbean. I think you do, but do you really, or do you just want a good movie?
I don't think anybody wanted
a fourth one.
No, I don't think anybody wanted another Pirates movie, especially when it's just like Toy Story 4. No one they buttoned it up.
Right.
1, 2, and 3. I don't like 2 and 3, but they tell this arc again. Will Turner is not the main character of 2 and 3, but they go into this Davy Jones arc for him.
Of course.
Where at the end, you get the payoff of 10 years later, supposedly. He's coming back to shore to see his kid.
Of course.
So they buttoned it, despite the fact
it's finished.
It's finished.
It's over.
It's done. The same way at the end of Toy Story 3, the toys are given to the little girl, and the cycle starts again, where she's going to be the new Andy.
Right.
She's going to have these toys for 10 years, and then once she maxes out, the hope is, instead of these toys getting thrown away,
of course,
or donated or whatever,
they go to somebody else.
They're going to go to another kid.
And it defeats the purpose of showing that if you're just going to bring them back.
Yeah.
It defeats the purpose of killing... it's not quite the same thing, but the gravity of the situation goes away if you still get to have his character another movie later.
Yeah.
So, and I know that you mentioned that Will's in it. There's no guarantee Will's going to be in this entire movie. No. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in it for 5 minutes. A little cameo. And I don't know... I don't know the rules. Obviously, it's a fictitious world. But I noticed that he had grout on his face.
All that, yeah.
I thought they turn that way if they break rules. Yeah. Now, maybe he has. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's a design element, right? I can understand that. I'm a graphic designer. It would be boring to have Will look normal. Let's have him look grouty like a pirate's been under the sea. Makes perfect sense. It's just a small detail I noticed. Obviously, with 2 seconds of video, there's no way to know. I don't know. It's just something I saw. Other than that, I agree with you. So they have Javier playing a villain. So what? The special effects, I don't know. I know that it looks a little weird, a little fake, a little too fake.
It looks too fake. And again, that's where in Pirates 1, the only time that you're aware of visual effects, you're not even they do such a good job of it. And this is 2003.
Yeah.
When they're in the moonlight, it's the only time that there is something unbelievable on screen.
Of course.
You know what I mean? When they're fighting in the rafters, that's believable.
And it's classic adventure. It's classic Disney.
Yeah. When this whole time, they pan out and it's a boat that's all Black Pearl. The Black Pearl, just looked like an old boat with black sails that had some holes in it.
Right.
But it wasn't all blown up. It wasn't a CGI thing. And this movie looks like it's going to be all CGI. Even the little bird that was there. You know what I mean? God, it's just...
And Barbossa's still wearing that dumb wig. He's not even classic Barbossa anymore. Which was one of my opinion, as much as I just really like the whole kind of franchise. Barbossa, the fat guy and then the guy with the missing eye, those were the 3 best elements of those movies.
Pintail and Rigatti. Yep.
Those are pirates. Yep. Everything else, it didn't feel like a pirate movie. I think there's another thing that was wrong with me. I'm used to the Goonies, Swiss Family Robinson, Peter Pan. Those are pirates.
Pirates 1 had more of that feel.
Yeah.
2 and 3 got very, very dark. Of course. Extremely dark. Pirates 1, remember he's Pirates 2, the first time you see him, he busts out of that coffin and it looks like something from a Dracula movie. There's a big cliff. That wasn't Pirates.
Right.
Even the beginning, they're on that Caribbean island, they have the whole British rule, they kill her father right away. Her dad was but there's no you don't even feel it.
Yeah.
Nobody's upset about it.
They move on. It's when you're making a joke every 5 minutes, it's hard to really grasp what audience follow as
Tia Dalma as Calypso. It's so stupid. Yeah. It looked terrible when she's giant.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god! It was like one. The writers, I think it's something Russo and Elliott. Mm-hmm. They, going way back, I think you can't even probably find it on the internet anymore. Hopefully you can. There was a lot of one creating a movie that was basically the script of Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. And then all of a sudden, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl came out, and this person had his little website with pictures where you could follow along, scene for scene.
Huh.
It was this story,
wow.
Scene for scene, and they took it to court. There was a settlement.
Yeah.
But normally that means that, like, it's hush money.
Right.
Like, yeah, sorry, we ripped you off, but, like, go away now.
Of course.
And you usually sign, like, an NDA that kind of says, like, you're not going to talk about it anymore, or take down the website, or whatever it is. I think that's why it was something that they had seen somewhere else. Uh-huh. They rebranded it with we'll put a scene where we see, like, the pigs and the guy sleeping, and we see the dogs with the keys. The little nods to Disney stuff. Course. So that way it becomes a Disney movie or ties into the Pirates of the Caribbean universe that we know from the rides. That's why I think 2 and 3 and 4 were so bad, because after that, like, it wasn't even their story.
No.
They didn't get that Will was the main character.
Yeah.
All the focus went to Jack.
Oh, yeah.
It's all on Jack.
Which, for me, he's my least favorite. Like, I can't stand him. No. I don't like that the story shifts with him.
He goes from being a very smart person to being a real idiot.
Right.
And, it's not good. Even the writing was written as like more of a ex-British soldier type.
Yeah.
And it was Johnny Depp himself that's his costume that he wanted. That's not the costume he was supposed to wear.
Right.
The way his character was terrified.
Really?
Oh yeah. He was like, this is not how I want the character to act.
Huh.
And it's going to work. Trust us. It's going to work.
Yeah.
And I think just like Mater being too much in Cars 2.
Of course.
It got off the leash.
Yeah.
And it dominated the whole movie, and it got stupid. And they wrote for Jack as Johnny Depp's character instead of writing the character and letting Johnny put a spin on it. You know what I mean? Because that's not a character you can write for.
Yeah.
It's not going to be funny. It's not going to be intelligent.
It's got to be natural.
It's got to be natural. And so I think, it really feels like they went into Wikipedia and just typed in, like, pirate lore.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden they started throwing everything at the book. Davy Jones, Black Spot, Calypso.
Right. And see, like, I know it's kind of weird, like, but for me, those are the elements I liked about it because that's what I was pitched of, like, fantasy. But what by no means was, like, the rest of those movies any good. Like, I liked Davy Jones. I thought he was neat.
I think the execution was terrible.
You have these really cool elements in this story that's not getting anywhere, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, Davy Jones is a great character. He's got a really cool ship. He's got a great soundtrack. He has all the elements to make him work. Yep. But then you got this idiot running around making them look bad.
Yep.
And then it's deflating the whole thing.
Well, because
that'd be like having, freaking, what's her name? This stupid woman who does it was in Ghostbusters, McCarthy.
Oh yeah,
it'd be like her running around in Lord of the Rings with the orcs, making fun of the orcs.
Yes.
You would ruin the whole thing, and that's for me. That's what Pirates was. It was like, what I see here is awesome, but the tone is not matching. It's ridiculous. Well,
and that's it. It was so dark, but then it's joke.
Right.
Let me get out of this really bad situation by tying myself to a cannon and fuck. I got a jar of dirt. Right. Magically out of this situation because it like you said, it diminishes the villain.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because like. Davy Jones was sold to you as the ultimate bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is
death. And we've known him to be the ultimate bad guy. Forever. Ever since the beginning of time.
He is the pirate. Him and Blackbeard.
Yeah.
And they were both pitched as the ultimate villains. They both sucked as villains.
Yeah.
In 2, 3, and 4.
Of course.
Like, Pirates 4, I don't even remember, like Blackbeard wasn't that villainous.
No, I don't remember what he did. I don't even remember really.
I don't think he did anything. Movie. That's what I'm saying. I don't remember that.
I know that there was some stupid thing with his beard and his cigars or something.
Yes.
I don't know.
Like dynamite, cigars, whatever. But like Dorothy, like Darth Vader has like her throat, and she's like, "Ha, Vader, you're wearing black," and she's out of the situation. That would diminish. You know what I mean? But that's kind of like what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. So that kind of brings us a little bit to our next step.
Sure. I will still see Pirates 5.
I probably will too.
Because I'm curious. Because this is one of those critical moments where this either helps continue the franchise,
Of course.
or completely kills it. And
Again.
the book is going to be shut, and 5 years from now they'll do a reboot.
Yeah.
Or Johnny Depp will make a cameo.
Yeah.
Sony had an opportunity to continue the Ghostbusters franchise. 3 out of the 4 original Ghostbusters are still alive. I've told you this before.
Yeah.
With Harold Ramis dying, they had the perfect opportunity for the original Ghostbusters to get, like, I hate use like for a story purpose.
Right.
But you could have had Bill Murray, I forgot the name of the African American Ghostbuster, but him, Dan Aykroyd,
Right.
going to his funeral. And with them are their kids.
Of course.
And for whatever reason, the Ghostbusters just haven't talked in however long, whatever. Not by choice, the way that friends sometimes do.
Right.
They move different ways. Dan Aykroyd went on to study ghosts further in California, or whatever it is, right? Wherever
right.
the best ghost research center was. Because in their universe, ghosts were real.
Right.
And they proved it twice.
Right.
Instead, they rebooted it.
Of course.
And, like, they rebooted it in a way that the original people weren't even part of it. They acted like 1 and 2 never existed.
Which on paper so far isn't the worst idea. Like, it's not something we really want to do, but they did it in the worst possible way that set them up for failure.
Yes. And even having the original Ghostbusters maybe invite the new Ghostbusters in that we got.
Would make more sense.
I think what would have made more sense would have been training their kids.
Of course.
And you could have had like a kid of love Emma Stone as the offspring of Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. You can't that's so perfect because she is like them.
Right.
She's got the badassery of Sigourney Weaver.
Of course.
And she's got the funny of Bill Murray.
Of course.
And we know that they worked well together because they were in not Adventureland, Zombieland together.
Yeah.
So you know that chemistry is there.
Right.
That would have been the way to do it. Like, they're college-age kids, people that we like, right? You could have maybe people in there. You have them all fight together. The older Ghostbusters are, like, still around, but at this point, they've really handed it off to the kids.
Yeah.
And then you got Ghostbusters 3, 4, 5. You could drag this out for a while.
Yeah.
Right? Instead, they made a movie.
Of course.
They thought it was going to be such a hit. It was a flop.
Of course.
It's over now. They can't reboot it again. They just
Right.
did. It's done.
They wasted their shot.
Sony is so fortunate, because they've been on a terrible streak, that with Spider-Man,
Yeah.
the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to help.
Yeah.
Talks of Sony selling the rights to Spider-Man.
I heard about that, yeah.
Well, Sony's, like, they don't make Vio computers anymore. They don't do anything anymore. They're getting their butts kicked by Samsung. So, like,
Yeah.
and if selling the rights to Spider-Man means that they're going to make more money, great. If it wasn't for that, they screwed up big with the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
It's such a shame because Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man. Emma Stone was an amazing Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
But the movies were terrible.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm getting at here is, like, it's so hard once you have something on film and it's out there. Just like, it's so rare that you get a chance to continue the story after you screw it up.
Yeah.
And 2, 3, and 4 were big screw ups.
Yeah.
If 5 isn't mind-blowingly great,
Yeah.
it's over.
If it's not different, if it doesn't take it to the next level, you're just like making it even worse. You're almost making it even unrebootable.
Yep. And that's why Sony got so lucky with Spider-Man because like universe, which is what everyone wanted. So there's a trust there that it's going to be because it's it's in the hands that it should. So far, Tom Holland looks like he's going to be a good teenage Spider-Man. They got Michael Keaton as the villain. It's going to be great.
Right.
With Ghostbusters, that's a dead franchise. Now we're leading into DC and not Justice League was bad. Batman vs Superman wasn't very good.
No. And I'll come out and say it, like, I love Man of Steel. And
Man of Steel was great. It's great.
I love it. I know there's issues with it. I get it.
I think it's very good.
But for me, at a basis level, I wanted to see Superman punch someone through a building.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that. And I think I would rather see that than him save another one from a building.
Yeah, saving a cat from a tree.
It was visually what I wanted it to be.
Yep.
And
it's what I expected of Superman Returns and didn't get.
Of course. And you know what I mean, like I don't necessarily care for the Marvel movies. Like they work, they're fine. They though. And at a first glance at looking at the two, at least Zack Snyder gets in. Suicide Squad was terrible, but they get the look.
The stylists,
the visuals are so much cooler than the bland, gray, flat, and whatever Marvel's making. It doesn't look good. I didn't see Doctor Strange. I don't need to.
It's weird because the Marvel movies are very colorful, but at the same time very gray.
Right.
Just because there's not a lot of like.
Well, I was reading an article the other day. There's no black in it. There's no true black. And if you look at a comic book, they ink it with black and they pop it with color. And at least I know Man of Steel's a little bit kind of dark, but it looks so cool. Like it still looks badass.
It's really cool.
When he punches Zod, he's punching Zod. He doesn't punch him and go, "Wow, didn't expect you to fly that far." Like there's no need to. They're hitting each other. And yeah, there's destruction, but it's what you would expect. And now I was excited for Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
I was really excited for that movie up until they had the trailer where they showed Doomsday. Yeah. And I started getting doutes. And I thought, you know what? Maybe people are just being ridiculous.
Why?
It was too much. Bad trailer. 2, I anticipated the movie maybe Superman being under mind, and that was why they would fight. But then they introduced Doomsday, which has his own very significant storyline with Superman. And then there's one, I knew there was going to be Wonder Woman, obviously. But now there's so much in this movie, the doubt came. But I still had hope. That movie, I've seen worse, but what a huge missed opportunity. And I know a lot of that about, Batman kill people. That's not the problem with the movie. The problem with the movie wasn't that it was too dark. The problem with the movie was that there was too much going on. There was it was too freaking loud.
They're trying to cram so much.
There was a misunderstanding of the characters, sure, but it wasn't that Batman killed people. It was just many little things. Some dumb lines. The whole Martha, that being what brought them together. He had to have known that when he was making that movie that was a bad idea. With all that being said, there's still some cool stuff in it. When he's punching Doomsday, when they're in space and the nuclear bomb goes off, great. I will say the extended cut is better, not by much, but it adds more to the Superman story to where you're not wondering why the heck did they think Superman shot these people. I remember the first hour and a half of the movie, I did not understand what the hell was going on. The setup for Justice League was terrible in it. The Flash scene was cool, but if you don't know what that means, it's not cool.
If you don't know about it, you have no idea. And there were so many, and it was fan service.
Of course.
Because if you know about Flashpoint, Flashpoint.
Right.
But to the general audience, and again, you got to remember, these movies, you always want to please the fans, right? But you should be able to get the general audience. You have to. Of course. You have to.
Yeah, and I hate to say, I admit I was excited, and I'll admit that I did not. I bought it to go with, I wanted to see the extended cut.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, I like to collect a little bit. But then there was this also. I gave it a little bit of a leeway because it's very clear that they were trying to catch up with Marvel.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but of course, that failed, and then the next step was Suicide Squad. Yeah. And Ronnie, I don't even want to talk about that movie because there's nowhere to begin. People have done it. People have analyzed it, and they've made some great points. The movie was freaking terrible.
Well,
it was horrible.
Jared Leto's Joker is terrible.
It is terrible.
It's terrible.
It was bad, and that again was something that I was saying. You know what? Give it a chance because everyone thought Jack Nicholson was going to suck. Everyone thought Heath Ledger was going to suck. Why not give Jared Leto a chance? He's a great actor, and from what I've heard. They shot a ton of, and he didn't know, and they took it all out. But from what little we saw, he looks
stupid.
Oh,
he looks stupid.
Take away the tattoo.
Take away the tattoos. Take away the chrome teeth. That's what kills me. Is you have comic books sitting right here.
Yeah.
If I pull out Long Halloween, that's the Joker.
Yeah.
If I pull out any other Batman comic, you have Hush.
Dude, Hush is awesome.
Hush is amazing.
My Justice series, man. Those were
But there's a particular look for the Joker.
There is.
Even Heath Ledger had. Even though it was scars and all that, you still saw it and were like, Joker. It was a cool twist on Joker, right? This is not a cool twist on Joker. This is stupid. Right. Even the tattoo, all of it is stupid. And it kills me because I actually think Margot Robbie could be a great Harley Quinn.
She could be. Well, that's another thing. She was great in Wolf of Wall Street. She had that Boston accent.
Yeah,
they cast her, and I was like, that's freaking amazing. Why not? No Boston accent.
I know.
And maybe that's just a creative choice.
Long Island accent is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
She
said the way that they told her to do it. was to talk like your nails have wet nail polish on them, which is that's perfect for like a Long Island girl.
Yeah.
I'm from Long Island, so I can say this. That's perfect.
Right on.
It's a very New York, all that.
Yeah.
All that, It's like, and we didn't get it. It was just.
I mean, like the only thing I can say about that movie that was cool was the amount of detail that went into each of the costumes.
Yeah.
No matter how maybe dumb they were.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Will Smith's Deadshot. He's got all the guns. He's got the thing around his neck. He's got all these things. But the movie's just so freaking all over the place. And now we're segueing into what we're talking about next. Is the best thing about Batman versus Superman, arguably, definitely, was Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that he may have killed a handful of people. Whatever, he was still badass.
I think he was really given the wrong script. I mean, I've said it before. I don't think Zack Snyder is a very good director.
Right.
I think that's a big part of it. It's the cinematographer.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like, stylistic, cool-looking universe. But first time, Zack Snyder, from a story perspective,
Yeah.
unless he's doing it, like, panel for panel, like Watchmen in 300, like, it's just a mess.
Right.
And this was a mess. I'm okay with Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne. It was okay. He was probably... I love Henry Cavill's Superman, too.
Yeah, I do too.
And what's her name's Wonder Woman is great.
Right.
I'm actually not 100% on board with Affleck.
Right.
But I'd say he was one of the better parts of that movie.
Right. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I like his size. I like his costume. Like, finally, he has a gray costume. What took so long to get him a gray costume? Yeah. He has kind of all the gadgets. They definitely forgot the whole detective side of it. That's very hot-headed.
That kills me. And we didn't even really see that in Darkness.
Right.
Like, that DC comics, the whole thing of Batman is that he, like, is the brain power. He can fight, but, like, it's because of all the pre-work that goes in. Of course. He's super, super, like, talented. Yeah. And you see it in Batman Begins. He's figuring out, like, can you make this antidote? Can you do really cool?
Yeah.
And like
studying, he's in his library with all the books and the papers, and he's traveling.
The excuse we get is when he does that stupid thing with the bullet. Here's the fingerprints.
Still have no idea what he was doing.
No, here's the fingerprints when he pushed his thumb into the clip. Like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't work. I wanted real detective work. We didn't get it. We didn't. Who I would love to see play Batman, because now this thing's falling apart. Right?
It's so. How do you? Oh my god!
It's falling apart for a couple of reasons, right?
Yeah.
So, Man of Steel got like a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. I thought it was very good.
Right.
Batman vs Superman got like a...
Which is not... I don't agree with that. I first of all, a 23%, that means like... That's absolute garbage. That's shits for the fucking Sci-Fi Channel movies, okay? That's for your Oxygen. That's for that crap. In my opinion, at worst, Batman 10, which is a D. Maybe a 5. I'd give Suicide Squad a 5 or a 4.
Okay.
Like, that's garbage. That's where you're like, there's nothing here for me to even work with. Anything below a 4 or a 5 shouldn't even be allowed to be in a theater.
I would say with Suicide Squad, I know we're jumping a bit, but like Suicide Squad, what good are the Batman villains without Batman? That movie was like 2 minutes.
Right. And his cameos were terrible in that movie.
They were bad. And then they were built up to be really good, and they were not.
Yeah.
What good is the Rogues Gallery without Batman? And at least you have to at least give me the Rogues Gallery with Batman first. Mm-hmm. And then you do a spin-off. Like in the, I think it's in The Long Halloween and Dark Victory, Catwoman finds out that she has like ties to the mob. Mm-hmm. And like then there's a spin-off where she's out doing her thing like in Italy or whatever it is. I can do that because I've had all this time with her and Batman first. Like, if from The Long Halloween there was then a spin-off with the villains, I could believe it.
Right.
But I haven't spent any time with them first.
Of course.
So instead they're trying to, like, give you the backstory of all these villains first. It's just like, no, if instead there was, like, 2 or 3 Batman where I got to know these characters, and now I want more of them, yeah. But I didn't even want them in the first. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Not to mention that the movie was pitched, again, another example of the movie that was pitched a certain way, and that was not the movie we got. And I think there are a lot of, that movie to me just doesn't even exist because of, I've heard of how it was made, all the cuts, so, you got for Superman, I get it, you cut now you barely skimmed by with getting a break, for me anyways, on Suicide Squad. you have one chance this year to sway me of hope or just doubt, and that's the next thing.
Well, I don't...
And I've not seen anything of it other than like one trailer, which was fine.
I agree.
I've heard it's bad.
I agree with what you said. I disagree with... I don't think it weighs on that. Because if they're doing this whole universe thing, the universe, the DC Cinematic Extended Universe, whatever they're calling it, right? Yeah. It relies on Justice League being great.
Okay.
Not on Wonder Woman being great. It helps if Wonder Woman's great.
Right.
It really does. If it's not, the universe, though.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck is Batman. Henry Cavill is Superman. Why do I keep forgetting her name? Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. And what's his name as Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. All depends on Justice League.
Right.
If Justice League is bad,
it's over.
It's all over. There's not going to be a Flash movie. As it is, you hear about that? Like, it's
lost they keep
director,
changing the
lost
directors.
writer.
Yeah.
If Justice League isn't good, and the rumors that I keep hearing swirling around are that it's a mess.
Yeah.
Which is why I think Ben Affleck is one of the reasons he's stepping down as director. I think there's a couple.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's at least three. One of them is the fact that the movie he had that came out over Christmas about gangsters.
Yes, which I didn't see.
What was it called?
Live by Night or Live by Night? I don't know.
Because that didn't do well. Didn't make any money. I think it was Warner Brothers movie. Didn't make any money.
Right,
Lost a lot of money.
Well, yeah.
Didn't get good reviews either.
Which is unfortunate because Argo, Gone Baby Gone Town are all fantastic 8 out of 10 movies. No, they're awesome.
Ben Affleck, we can definitively say he's a very good director.
Absolutely.
Everyone gets a stinker.
Yeah.
Spielberg, he has some movies, but overall, the man still made Jaws and Raiders of the Lost Ark and all that, right? So,
right.
I think Ben Affleck is a good director. I'm sure he was extremely disappointed with how Batman vs Superman performed and how it was. And I don't think it lived up to what he was pitched. Mm-hmm. I think that was evidently seen when he was touring around the country with Henry Cavill doing the media stuff. And remember, he looked sad.
Yeah.
And he looked like he didn't want to be there. And, you could just tell that he wasn't proud of this work.
Right. It looked like he had seen the movie for the first time.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, that's not what I thought I was going to be in. Yes. And I think we all thought we were going to get something different because we were slowly teased, Batman pictures and the cowl, and it was looking the way it should have looked for a long time. That first teaser, I love that first teaser where it's just Batman and Superman. And then again, once they hey, here's freaking everything, it was like, oh, this is all what I thought this was going to be. Yep.
Well, more on that later. I think they fought way too soon. Batman vs Superman, that's 20 years down the road.
Right.
Instead, we had a young Superman, very young Superman, not only fight Batman in his second year on Earth or first year on Earth.
Right.
He also got on his first year on Earth.
Right.
Well, that's Superman's been here for a while. And
then again, like the Pirates thing and the Han Solo thing, they didn't even follow through with it because they kill him. One, there's going to be a Justice League movie, so now we're wasting time.
Yep.
Two, you end the movie with the dirt floating. You've just deflated. You just made a movie that got to a certain point, and that from that point until now it's a waste of time.
It would be like in Episode 7 of Star Wars, spoiler alert, they kill Han Solo, but that there's going to be a spinoff of a young Han Solo. But let's say that the next movie was going to be a spinoff of Han and Lando, and it's set in
modern day,
the next year,
right?
So you're oh well, we saw Kylo kill Han, but we know Han's coming back. That's exactly what this was. We saw Superman die, but Justice League's coming out next year,
right? So
you guys aren't going to do Justice League, which is Batman and Wonder Woman.
Right.
Superman's going to be there,
right? Which I mean, on a side note, I don't want to get too much into that either, but it's unfortunate now with movies that's how they are.
Yep.
As when one's coming out, there are going to be 7 more.
Yep.
So really any kind of consequence that might happen is pretty much, they're dead, they might come back. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Oh, I know that no one in this movie is going to die because they got to be in all the 7 rest of them.
Yeah, and they already signed a contract. You can find it. They signed a 5-picture deal.
Right.
But so I think Ben Affleck's most recent movie, Live by Night, not doing well at the box office. I'm sure caused some friction with Warner Brothers.
Right.
Because Ben Affleck for a long time was pushing back, that he wanted a better script.
Right.
Want a better script, want a better script, want a better script. And I'm sure at some point Warner Brothers said, like, well, your last movie bombed.
Right.
So you want to wait for a better script, but like, how much better can you do? You just made a movie that tanked. Came in somewhere.
Of course.
There's that. There's the fact that Batman vs Superman was not up to the artistry levels that I think Ben Affleck wants to make a great movie.
Of course.
And I think he knew that it wasn't.
Uh-huh.
I think the end result very clearly to him wasn't.
Uh-huh.
And then I think even now with Justice League, I think with all those rumors coming out, that's a freaking mess. I'm sure Ben Affleck knows that.
Yeah.
I think he's finally hitting the point where it's like...
He probably doesn't want the blame. He didn't want to deal with. I read that today of, just because I haven't thought too much about it. He's been off and on about it for so long, and like, he's not going to do it. I'm like, who cares? Whatever. But I was reading someone else's opinion today, Kevin Smith, and he was saying that he hasn't talked to Ben Affleck, but he was thinking that, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
No,
so why even deal with the pressure? Which makes sense. It's unfortunate that that's the situation.
I think he's wrong. I don't think that's right. I think it comes down to the fact that Ben Affleck's last movie, for Warner Brothers, didn't make a whole lot out with Warner Brothers of like, I'm holding out for a good script, and Warner Brothers is like, we need a tentpole for 2019 or whatever.
Right.
So there's that, and then there's just the fact that the DCEU has been a miserable flop so far, and I think that's why Ben is like, I would prefer to distance myself from this. Less and less involvement as an artist. Like, I get it. I want to be further and further away. I wouldn't even be surprised if he drops out of playing Batman. If Justice League comes out and it's that bad, I could see him not want to do Batman anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why. I would see him doing it. You would see his performance, I think, dramatically decrease of something that's acceptable to. Man, this is just bad. I think Justice League fails, they continue to make.
No, I think it's done.
Actually, I won't be surprised because somehow movies like Gods of Egypt still get made. So I'm sure they're still going to make them. I'll just be very surprised if they get made anytime.
I think with that we're going to see the end. I think it's going to be the end of the DCEU.
Yeah. Which is sad.
It is. The shame of it is the fact that like I still want a world where Henry Cavill is Superman.
Yeah.
He's a good Superman.
Yeah.
My choice for Batman in the future.
Oh yeah, you've told me about this before.
John Hamm, baby.
Yeah.
He has got the Bruce Wayne look down. He's got that cool voice.
Yeah.
He's got that cool dark, perfect. I think he would be menacing in a Batman suit. I'd love to see The Long Halloween.
Yeah.
Told as a two movie story.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of 2 movie stories.
Of course.
But I think it could be done.
Yeah.
I think it could be done. Even better would be to get like an HBO series where it's like 10 episodes.
Which that's where most of the stuff's going anyways. I haven't watched it, but I keep hearing so many great things about The Flash.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not against watching it, but there's so much of me that, I've seen so many superhero things. I don't want to watch another. Like, I'm done.
Season 3, which is the one that's on TV right now.
It's not that long?
Season 3 I don't think it's that great.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Huh.
Fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Just started watching Arrow, and it was fine, but I got to maybe episode 7 or 8, and it was still kind of repeating. Okay. I was like, all right, I'm bored, and I turned it off. Yeah, that's... Wow. And I don't know.
The Flash movie, director dropped out, writer dropped out. And so that's what worries me is like the writing's on the wall. The DCEU is over.
Right.
Like Wonder Woman, they already sunk money in, so that movie's going to come out.
Of course.
Justice League is going to come out. Wasn't there supposed to be Justice League Part 1, Part 2?
This one was supposed to be Part 1. They took the Part 1 off. I don't... Yeah.
There's that.
But there are also talks of, not to drag Marvel into this, but there are also talks of
Infinity Wars.
Infinity War is not Part 1 and Part 2 anymore. That it's just, I don't know. They haven't said what it's going to be, but they've changed the title or something. That this Avengers is going to be not Part 1. I don't know. I haven't read too much into it. That's kind of what I heard at one point. But I can only imagine that's a mess too. Like a 67 freaking heroes. And like, and Marvel fans out there, that's fine. Great. My standard for a great Marvel movie are X-Men 2 and Spider-Man 2 and, maybe Guardians of the Galaxy and the second Captain America. But to assume that this is going to go on forever is absurd. No. This will all come crashing down very soon. And I think at the very least, you have to ask, what this investment we've made for Where's it gotten us?
Well, and partly because the best comic stories have finite endings.
Yeah.
Hush is a story arc. It's got an ending.
Right.
Long Halloween. It's got a story. There's an ending. Here, there's it's like The Walking Dead. It just exists, and it just goes on infinitely. Like The Walking Dead, in either they should all die, or
the end.
Instead, they're going to drag this thing out forever, and the ratings are already starting to go down. Right. Same way it's going to happen with the Marvel movies too. There's only so many characters you can introduce. Like Doctor Who was another side character that wasn't as popular as Doctor Strange. Another side character, but at some point,
I think everyone's starting to catch on now because what I heard about Doctor Strange was it's okay, and it's just another origin story. Like you can't keep doing this formula forever and expect it to just keep powerhousing, because we have to understand in 2008, when Iron Man and all these other movies were coming out, first of all, the Marvel Universe, Thor 1, Thor 2, no one likes those movies. Iron Man 3 is bad. Iron Man 2 is bad. You have, the first Captain America, which is bad. You have second Avengers, which didn't do well, or didn't do as good as people had hoped. You have, let's see, there's another one that didn't, The Incredible Hulk, which no one's seen. You have, Ant-Man, which I think it did fine, but I don't think it didn't, break records. I don't think Doctor Strange broke any records. So right there, just right at the top of my head, you have 9 movies that are averagely mediocre. I think everyone agrees that Avengers, which again I don't really care for, but Avengers, Iron Man, Captain America 2, and Guardians are the best.
Probably top 4, right? For sure.
That's 4 out of what are we at? 16, 17 movies, or probably 15. That's not your odds aren't that great. Like again, the best thing that they have going for them is that they work.
Yep.
They make sense. They play it safe. But for example, the train fight scene with Doc Ock and Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, I've not seen that since then. Yeah. I'm waiting for it. I haven't seen it.
Well, and it wasn't a CGI monstrosity.
Right. I mean, they're both CG, but it's a freaking cool fight scene.
The thing's crazy is,
and there's suspense. There's stakes. Mary Jane's in danger. The train's in danger.
All the people.
The whole city's not about to blow up. We know the city's not going to blow up. Starting to save the day. We know the train's going to live, but this is pretty.
But what's really cool is when you talk about the train scene. You called it the train fight. I don't even remember the fight. All I remember, I know, they toss around all that. He's climbing on the side of the train with his octopus arms. The part I remember is him holding all the webs, and his face just and he looks like, and then he just falls, and the humans on the train catch him, and they start passing him back. It's there's this whole Jesus kind of moment where they pass him back to the train, and then it's the man, and he's just they take, because his mask is all shredded or whatever, they take it off. He's just a boy.
Yeah.
That's what it's not explosions and the city, which we've seen, we saw it in The Dark Knight Rises, we saw it in Apocalypse. It's been done a million times. Right. It's not one of the Harry Potter movies. I get it. We can destroy shit with CGI.
Right.
There's no stakes with CGI. You can do anything with CGI. Let that be fact. You can do anything with CGI, so there's no stakes.
Right.
Fact.
Right.
Trying to stop that train, and he's holding the webs. They pull him back. He's just a boy, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the 2 twin little boys who I think are Tobey Maguire's actual, brothers. Their whatever it was.
Yeah. I don't remember, but I don't know.
There's nothing to do. And they hand him his mask back, and we won't tell anybody, or we won't tell nobody.
Right. And
it's still, that's what I'm saying. It's there was no crazy explosions. There was no crazy CGI.
Right.
And it's still one of the best scenes in out of any superhero movie.
And think about it, we're not going to get that in the new Spider-Man. It's not. That's not going to happen because they haven't done that in a long time. We haven't seen it. The school. And I'm mentioning action scenes because yes, these Marvel movies are, the bulk of them is action. So let's look at them as action scenes. What are we getting? The Wolverine fight scene in X-Men 2 when they break into the school. We've not seen that. The Nightcrawler scene, the amount of story-wise, the amount of plots and twists and turns in X-Men 2 are not in any of these other movies. I missed that, man. What happened to, just balls to the wall, awesome story?
Yeah.
In retrospect, the Spider movies are a little corny, but there's so much to them. There's a perfect, beautiful arc of, in Spider-Man 2 where he's trying to figure out if he wants to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
kind of going through some stuff. Yeah, the scene where he's like walking through in like the sunshine or whatever. It's kind of dumb, but like there's a payoff.
It worked.
It works for that movie. There's not like, oh man, like you see that cameo, that reference meant this, and there's gonna be 6 other movies, and this is gonna be crazy. And like we get now, we're all waiting. What happens when the end isn't as good as we hoped? They've built up something that they're never gonna achieve.
Well, that's part of the problem. Is there's no possible ending that could feel like a payoff.
Right. They're not all gonna die. All the Marvel characters aren't gonna die. They're not gonna get in some bloody brawl with Thanos. That's not gonna happen.
That's what I was gonna say. Is Thanos is again supposed to be this ultimate villain.
Right. What are they gonna do? Like laugh at his purple face? Like is that gonna be the joke? Like everyone's a freaking comedian. What? Oh, your face is purple. Oh, it's a funny glove you got there. Like, in one villain versus 67 people that have saved the world multiple times. Yeah, I'm really in suspense. And I know that, I know for a fact Civil War was not based off the comic. Nothing like the comic. I know that it's different, and I respect and I know that the Infinity Gauntlet storyline is very different than I'm assuming what we're going to get, because that's a whole different universe that's set up than what we got in movies so far.
Yeah. The Russo brothers blew me away with the second Captain America with Rush. It's got him. He plays Niki Lauda. He plays that famous
Rush.
car driver. Rush.
Yeah, that's Chris Hemsworth.
Yes. Yeah. Thor.
Yeah.
It's
like, what the...
Yeah. I knew it was a car movie.
Yeah.
It was a car movie. His villain is terrible.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to my friend about it, and he was saying, I didn't realize, like, him in the comics, he's supposed to be this master.
Yes.
And in the movie, he sets up this whole fiasco. But I didn't get that from the movie. This is what I got from the movie. Here's all the Marvel characters. They're going to fight each other, but they're not really going to fight each other. And all I hear is Spider-Man. That was the movie. The movie wasn't about, like this mastermind villain's going to take advantage of these 2 people. No, it was just another movie. It was
Spider-Man cameo.
I hated the airport scene. It looked bad. No one. It reminded me of like when you're kids and you're like fighting downstairs and like you're all taking turns of who you're going to be.
Yep.
After you play Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, like I'm Scorpion, I'm Sub-Zero. Y'all just wrestle, but no one's really actually trying to fight each other.
Yeah.
And like, it's a terrible. What a horrible backdrop for like one of the most potentially epic fight scenes. Which, compare that to Batman vs. Superman, at least the fight in Batman vs. Superman looks cool.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Like, the sound effects, it's like the equivalent of Transformers. Yeah, they're freaking bad movies, but, like, at least they sound awesome. They look kind of cool. Freaking Civil War, they're not, so they made a Star Wars reference. We get it. You own Star Wars. Congratulations. But, oh, man. I enjoyed the movie for, like, what it was, but, like you... I thought the first Avenger was crap. I thought Winter Soldier was light years ahead of it. It was where the Marvel Universe needed to go. I was expecting the same thing from Civil War. Trailers are great. They're going to kick this tone up a notch. They're going to start making this something I can buy into, something grounded, something real, something with consequences. No consequences. Hey, Tony, I'm going to try to cut your head off my shield. Hey, if you ever need me, we're going to be best friends, right? Well, I already know that because there's like 4 more movies with you guys in them. So, yeah. And then, hey, Spider-Man, come help us fight this villain. You're too young, go home. What's happening in the next movie? Stay home, Spider-Man. Then why did you go to his house in the first place? I don't understand. Yep. You're doing this, but you're turning around and you're doing something. That's in the Spider-Man trailer of, no, leave this to the big boys. Then why did you bring him out to play
the first time?
What was a 12-year-old inexperienced superhero going to do against Captain America? You're Iron Man. You have War Machine with you. Forget those 2. You have Vision. Isn't Vision supposed to be like the guy thing? So whatever.
The whole no consequences thing is bad. That's the worst part of it. Part of it's a CGI thing. Part of it's having a story.
I think part of them have no idea what they're doing.
No,
I think they're waiting. They're just seeing how long they can ride it.
Some sort of finite ending anywhere. Like you
cut off the money.
Yeah, but there could always be another story. Instead, there is no story. It's just visual.
Yeah.
That doesn't live on,
Right.
I liked Avengers. I did not like the second Avengers.
It was stupid.
I think the first Avengers was great just because it brought everybody together for the first time.
Yeah.
It was the first time we built a universe like this. Speaking of universes, have you seen Split?
No, I've heard great things.
It's very good. It was very good. Universal doesn't have a whole lot of franchises.
Yeah.
They've got Despicable Me side from Illumination Studios.
Of course.
Who knows how many more of those they're going to... They are making... And Jurassic Park / World is another franchise. They don't have DC Comics or Marvel.
Of course.
DC, Warner Brothers, Disney, Marvel. And not to spoil anything for you, they're going to almost be launching, I think...
Oh, yeah.
Their own universe.
With the monster movies.
Well, that's separate.
Okay.
But it's been terrible.
Wow, this is something
it's been
don't know then.
Well, I don't think anybody knows it yet. The Monsters movies own universe. I don't think it's gonna.
They're gonna get too deep, and they're gonna.
No,
cut.
not even. Cruise is gonna be terrible, and it's gonna be over.
Well, you tried Dracula
Yeah,
first. Nope, never.
Yeah, I think.
You think this is gonna do that much better?
I think Tom Cruise. I like Tom Cruise.
I do too, but he's not a big name anymore.
No,
he's not a name in a movie to sell it.
In 1999, instead of Brendan Fraser, Tom Cruise in The Mummy would have been a hit.
Probably.
You know what I'm saying?
I think The Mummy did well then.
It did well then, but I'm saying
it was as much of a hit, not more.
Exactly. It would have been tit for tat. It would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it would have been another big name. That was his era. Was
right.
From what
85
with Top Gun through like 99 2000 is when like that's it.
Yeah.
It's done. It's done.
He's in too many weird things. He's been in too many kind of oddball movies.
Too many oddball movies. The episode of Oprah. There's reasons why like his time is kind of rebooting the bad idea. But so that's one shot at a franchise that they're going to do. The other franchise, M. Night Shyamalan, X-Men, where people with freak things are going to be superhero types. You've seen Unbreakable.
Oh yeah, awesome movie.
I don't want to like. Is it okay if I tell you that? Split is in the same universe.
So is Bruce Willis in the end of Split?
At the end of Split, he's there. They show what happened with this guy that has all these different personalities, and they show it on TV, and he's at a diner. It's a spoiler alert if you haven't seen Split. At the diner, a woman goes, "Oh my God, this reminds me just of that crazy 20 years ago. It was a guy whose bones could break super easily, and he was like a serial killer." And they pan out, and Bruce Willis stands up. Yeah, his name. Like she was like, "What was his name? What was his name?" And Bruce Willis stands up, Mr. Glass, and it cuts to black. Because
like that makes me excited.
Me too.
That sounds awesome.
Because it's original, and it might actually be better than the X-Men that we got. So Bruce Willis is, for those that don't know, in Unbreakable.
How was Split?
Split was awesome.
Really?
It was awesome. Big movie, no, but it was great. It was really good. The acting from I forget but he's in X. He's Dr. X.
James McAvoy.
James McAvoy, incredible. Anya Taylor-Joy is great.
The girl?
Yeah.
She's in The Witch, which is an awesome movie.
She's a good actress. So that's I think over the next 5 years, we're probably going to see 1 to 2 M. Night Shyamalan movies to exist in this universe. It's going to be almost X-Men-ish, and it's universal at doing superheroes too. Have superheroes. I think this is going to be their way at having them. That's going to be maybe a little bit darker and different.
Okay, let me counter that. Loved Unbreakable. I saw it when it came out. My brother bought it on DVD. I saw it. Yeah, it's a great movie. I've not met really anyone who's seen that movie. Okay, so there's that. I've not seen Split. He has had terrible movies for like the past decade and a half.
Yep.
He had Signs, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, all great. Village, I didn't see The Village.
Village is bad. Village is bad.
Okay, I heard like. Okay, Village is bad. I know that freaking Airbender was bad.
Yep.
Everyone hates that movie. I know The Happening was garbage. Like these movies I haven't seen, but I don't have to see them because they live in water. So
I will say with The Village, I actually liked The Village when I saw it. Almost the way it was marketed.
I know they marketed.
Was there Beast? And it, spoiler alert, a costume that someone wears to try to keep people in this village.
Yeah.
Where like it's almost like kind of like old school thing, right? The thing about this movie is there. Follows through like, oh my God. There was a criticism that M. Night Shyamalan got a long time.
Yeah.
Was like, yeah, you teased us with this thing.
Right. Happens.
It effing happens in this movie. Point of, whole theater went, yeah. So it was good. This is what's great. The internet is after and I was like, oh, it's an Unbreakable reference, right? Because Mr. Glass, all that.
Yeah.
And someone, well, cool. So I looked it up, right?
Yeah.
And it was on Facebook, because it was on Facebook. And I was like, oh, okay. I have an HBO account. I watched Unbreakable. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And so now with the internet, like, we get into this universe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen Unbreakable.
I wonder how many people, would go watch Unbreakable, though, and enjoy Unbreakable, because it's a fantastic movie, but that's not everyone's movie. And so, like...
Well, especially today, Unbreakable would involve Bruce Willis throwing something through a building.
Of course.
And it would be taken out of a building and all. This movie, like, at the end of... Spoiler alert, at the end of Unbreakable,
Yeah.
he rescues a handful of women that are being abused in a house.
Yeah. I think it's the kids and, like, a woman.
Yep. He does
and
not...
the husband's dead.
Yep. He does not have super strength.
Of course.
Oh, no, he has super strength. That's...
Not abnormal, super strong.
Well,
but he's not, like, lift up a car strong. I think he girlfriend at the time from a burning car, but I think he's able to pull the door off.
I think
not, like...
they keep on adding more and more weight to that thing. So I think it is more strength. But it's not, like...
You're right. I forgot about that.
ridiculous.
Of course.
Whereas, you know...
He opened a car through a helicopter.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't die hard.
Yeah. Well, that's my point. Is it's super strength, but it's not to the point of I lifted it up 10 monster trucks at once to save, which is what we get today. Instead, it was like, oh man, he can like almost vibe where he can kind of figure out what people are up to.
Yeah.
And he like bumps into this guy who like, oh man, really bad stuff.
Yeah.
Comes into his house, turns out like is sexually abusing women.
Yeah.
And that's his hero-ship, you know. The villain, Samuel Jackson as Mr. Glass, like pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great premise, you know. But you know, with all the positive things about that, for me, yeah, you told me that ending. Some kind of, I don't know. I mean, whatever. Maybe I'll see Split. I don't know.
I'll even see it again.
I've had another friend to go see it. Like I don't, you know, he didn't tell me the ending. But he was saying that, you know, yeah, it's pretty... People say it's a good movie.
Here's the thing with Split, and here's why M. Night Shyamalan...
Could not have anticipated that.
No.
I would never fucking guess that.
And again, I think it's partly because M. Night Shyamalan teased something really bad happening, which he's done many times before. It happens. And that is not... I think The Village was when people started to unplug.
Yeah.
Because I saw it. I was jacked up. Nothing.
Yeah.
I think that's where, like... He righted
his wrongs.
I'm gonna say, with this movie, I think the budget was $11 million.
Good budget.
In a world where a movie like Captain America: Civil War was probably in the 180 to
what was it, 275?
something like that.
Yeah.
Probably. With marketing and everything else, and like full production budget of a Doctor Strange movie is like $200 million today. You know what I mean? For $11 million, who distributed the movie makes money so quickly.
Yeah. On
that movie, so that M. Night Shyamalan is going to get another movie.
Yeah.
And that we're going to see this M. Night universe come into existence with these paranormal people that all are kind of in the Philadelphia area, because it takes place in Philadelphia as well. Unbreakable did.
Wow.
So I think that's what we're going to end up seeing.
Interesting.
Yep.
I'll have to check that out.
And like,
of all the things, I never would have guessed. Never. I thought that movie was done and dead.
Yeah.
I tried to tell people about that movie for the movie.
And I think it just came out at a time before all this. It came out in 2000.
Probably two. Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
So like it just came before its time. And now it can exist. Or Mr. Glass could be a real villain. Bruce Willis's character could be a real Superman. You know, this guy could be
yeah.
So I think for award kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you $15 million to go make another movie.
Right.
Well,
Make our money back.
The fact that Bruce Willis was even like, for an $11 million movie, I'll make a cameo.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big name star now.
Yeah.
But like, $11 million.
Wow, that's one of the most interesting.
Isn't that cool?
My mind is a little bit blown right now, and I just don't.
And I don't have the rights to DC Comics or Marvel Comics. Heck yeah.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
All right. I mean,
I don't know. Should we just do it?
Doesn't matter. I guess if we can talk. We can tie that one in with the.
Let's do it.
And I guess the last thing we'll talk about now is we'll talk about shifting gears a little bit from actual video entertainment, but theme park attractions. We both live here in Orlando, Florida. Okay to say?
Yeah, it's okay.
We live in Orlando, Florida, and down the road they're building a brand new Universal's building a brand new water park, Volcano Bay.
Volcano Bay.
And I passed it the other day on the drive home, and I'll say one thing: they built that thing.
It's incredible.
So incredibly fast. Water parks aren't necessarily my thing; they're kind of grody, whatever. But it looks incredible, and what a great spot to put is right on the edge of the interstate.
Yeah.
Maybe not for them, but for people driving by, like, hey, what the hell is that?
It's such a great. It's essentially a giant billboard right off of I-4, the main interstate /thruway over here, and not only did they build a water park on the side of a highway, they built a giant volcano on the side of a highway that's going to erupt throughout the day.
Wow!
So think about if you're driving.
I didn't
on the
think
highway,
about that. Yeah.
Even better, right? If you're driving a rental car, CO, the Orlando, and you pass this, or if you're even in like a Disney Cruise Line bus or a Magical Express bike.
Do the cruise line buses not? Do they have to go that way?
They don't. They could also take 528.
Okay.
But sometimes, depending on traffic, they'll take I-4.
Okay.
Maybe they won't anymore. But this thing is very impressive, and I think it's going to really help Universal finally fill out that whole we're a resort mentality. Because they've been the Universal Resort. It used to be the Universal, or the Escape. In '99 when they opened up World's Islands of Adventure. Yeah. At that point, they became 2 parks, City Walk, a handful of hotels that they don't own. Like it's Lowe's hotels, but on the property, and they're beautiful. I think a lot of people still don't really get that it's a resort, because even the way that the Wizarding World of Harry Potter was kind of, people think that I'm going to go to the Harry Potter theme park.
Of course.
It's not. It's 2 lands.
Of course.
In 2 different parks. The same way there's Fantasyland. That's essentially what they have, you know? And so I think that this Volcano Bay is going to very much help people better understand or figure out that Universal is more than one park. Right. Because to this day, people still have trouble figuring out that, Universal Park, it's 2. Right. I think that this almost forces you to realize that at least that's a water park. Right. And with that, now you got to have 2 days. At least 2 days, right? I think really you're going to need at least 3, right? Especially during busy season to do the water park, Islands of Adventure, and Universal Studios Orlando or Universal Studios Florida. So that to me is why they did a water park next. They owned Wet and Wild, which is over on iDrive. Okay, that's what I was trying to do. That's closed. That closed on December 31st. Wow. Okay. Yep. Are they going to just remove it? Some of the newer slides are going to be moved over to Volcano Bay. Okay. But the rest of it is on. There's rumors of it becoming a boutique park. Which would be like 1,000 to almost like Discovery Cove, where you pay a higher ticket for a more exclusive experience. Okay. So it would be a more intimate, whatever it would be. It could be a theme park experience. It could be, who knows what it's going to be, right? Okay. Or a hotel. I mean, there's rumors Universal just bought 200 more acres. Okay. Of land. So there's talk of the monorail or some sort of transportation system. Man, they've been killing it lately, man. Well, and quickly. Yeah. And quickly. And that's not always the best. I mean, I know we've kind of talked about this before. Like, they put stuff up quick, but they don't really quite hit the mark every time. Like, no. Like Diagon Alley, the land is great. Yeah. The ride, I was a little disappointed. And, at least they got the damn thing built. Yeah. And, not to bash Disney, but it took them a number of years to do the rock work on the freaking mine train in Fantasyland. To just open the volcano is almost done, and they've only been putting rock on that thing for maybe the past 2 or 3 months. Yep. If that. Yep. Because when I was driving by, I was like, dang, that rock is almost up. You can still see the inside, but they're almost done. And by the way, driving past that thing on Sunset looks incredible. Yep. You see awesome. This red sky and knife just jutting up into it, and very impressive. The volcano, it's easily over 100 feet tall. Yeah. And it literally sits right next to the highway. Yeah. As is all the new hotels. They're building another hotel right there on the highway, too. I think it's the Aventura Tower is what it's going to be called. Okay. I mean, they opened up another hotel this past year, Sapphire Falls. Okay. They are really building it into a resort. And I think that Harry Potter was kind of like the gateway drug to get people there.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Where it's like you got a taste of it, you saw it, you saw how good Hogsmeade was if you went between 2010 and 2013.
I don't know if this is like a strategy part, but they're in the back of the park.
Yeah.
So you have to go through the rest of the park to get there. Like you can't get back there from the back.
No. And I'm sure.
Which is interesting.
I'm sure that was part of it too, where it absolutely forces you to see everything else. Like,
of course.
If you're going to Islands Adventure for the first time, you're either going through Dr. Seuss Land and through, I guess that's really it, Dr. Seuss Land and parts of the Lost Continent, whatever's left of it, to get to Hogsmeade, or you're going through
Marvel and Jurassic Park.
Marvel, Toon Lagoon, Jurassic Park, and you're kind of seeing like, wow, there's a lot of cool stuff here.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people.
You're passing roller coaster, Spider-Man. You're passing some of their best.
Now on your way back to Hogsmeade, and in the other park, you're passing just other new. If you haven't been to Universal in a long time, you're passing so much new stuff on your way to Diagon Alley.
Of course.
That it was Back to the Future, Jaws. It was, if you go back 20 years, it was Ghostbusters. That's all gone. All of it's gone. All of it's been changed out. You know, it's the Mummy now instead of King Kong. Instead of Jaws, it's Diagon Alley. Instead of Back to the Future, you have an entire Simpsons land. There's a Minions ride. There's a Shrek ride. Everything's been changed out. So they're doing a lot of really smart stuff, and they do a lot of it quickly. They're opening not just Volcano Bay. I think for Memorial Day weekend is when it's opening, which is when Disney announced they're opening Avatar Land today. It's going to be May 27th. I'm sure it's partly for the same reason.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I think it was originally they were targeting June, but now it's going to be May. They're also opening the Jimmy Fallon Race Through New York in May. The next summer, they're going to open the Fast and Furious ride.
I know they were getting one here. Is it the same one that's in Hollywood?
No.
Okay, because I heard that one's not very good.
It's there. Well, because in Hollywood.
Well, what's that going to be? They're going to be another they are getting things up fast, but they're simulators and they're screens. And I've heard a lot of people catch on, and they've started to have negative reactions towards that. I think it works for Spider-Man.
Yep.
It makes Spider-Man. It's a fun ride to begin with.
And here's why: because Spider-Man screens.
True.
There are physical props all throughout that ride. You know what I mean? There's the garbage truck that almost hits you.
Yeah.
When Doc Ock, Statue of Liberty, all of a sudden you're going under like the big tablet.
Of course.
And the torch. When the Hobgoblin throws you.
Right.
You know, oh no you don't, and it hits the real burst. Mm-hmm. It's the same ride system when you go to Transformers. You ride that ride.
You don't get the same experience.
Because there's not as much physical stuff.
Right.
And that's what makes Spider-Man forgivable. Because, there are screens throughout the ride, but there are themes and disciplines throughout the simulator.
Of course. You got water. Yeah. You have the whole scene where you feel like you're falling, and they try to do it's not the same.
No.
Not even the same.
No.
But so will Fast and Furious be a screen ride? Or will it be like a coaster like Test Track?
I'm hoping it's going to be more like Test Track. I think a whole new ride system being built for it, and the show building is monstrous. Because the building that they just built is, I think it has to have some kind of ride that can probably get some sort of speed. Interest to build a ride system similar to Test Track.
Oh yeah.
It absolutely interest to do that.
Of course.
Because then you could say in Orlando, we have the better version.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Which is what you always want to do. I have a feeling there is definitely going to be some screen elements to it.
Oh yeah.
I hope the whole thing isn't, because that is the complaint at Universal.
Yeah.
It's all screens.
Because at that point, you'd rather watch a movie. Well, like for me, I'd rather watch the movie than just watch.
You'd rather watch a movie, and it gets dated. So you know what I mean? Like, hold up as well. It's a small world. It's a physical ride. The ride is what?
60 some odd years old.
Yeah. Originally debuted the World's Fair 64, 65. The Disney World version opened in 71, so it just turned 45. It's still great.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the aging of it only increases its value.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at artifacts or like artwork rather than, oh man, that just needs to be changed out.
Yeah. And
I mean, you can't really help it with that because it's a little bit different. Like I rode the other day, the Ellen, great ride, but it's so clearly that's like Ellen from 20 years ago or 15, however long it was.
Yeah. They're very fortunate that she hasn't actually aged a whole lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like 1996.
Of course.
But they're very fortunate that she still looks like Ellen.
Oh yeah.
You know,
definitely.
Someone who doesn't know.
Right.
Even Bill Nye, like they got pretty lucky because he still looks pretty much the same. He looks, But Volcano Bay, it's going to be. The real cool part is the way that they're billing it. They're billing it as like a water theme park, which is not like it says Volcano Bay. I think the same way Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon are also, I would also classify them water theme parks, but they're not called water theme parks. They're called Disney's water parks.
Right.
And I think it's Universal's attempt saying that they're doing it better than anyone else ever has before.
Wow. Do you know what kind of stuff they're going to have? They got some crazy slides.
It's going to be it's some newer Pro Slide stuff. Pro Slide's a slide manufacturer from Canada. Amazing stuff. Some cool, like magnets physically in the slides that will propel the slide. Like Crushing Usher uses jets of water to get you over a hill.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
That's older technology from Pro Slide. Now there's magnets in the tube and magnets in the slide. And they repel, which is enough to get you over a hump.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So there's going to be some new stuff. I'm sure they're going to have. I don't know if they've released their whole slide roster yet, but it was very popular. It was actually the first one over at Wet 'n Wild, where you stand in a tube.
Oh,
the floor drops out. Aquatica.
Yeah.
But I mean, SeaWorld, like Aquatica is the newest water park in Orlando right now. As soon as Volcano Bay opens, Aquatica has been doing great for SeaWorld. It's one of the few things that's doing well for SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Once Volcano Bay opens, it's it. It's over. Right. Out. Because they're the new one, and they're going to have the same type of...
Is it going to be included in the annual pass? Do you have to buy an upgraded one?
It seems like it's going to be in the annual pass. I wouldn't be surprised if long term it would be the same way...
So you can go on our preferred?
As of right now,
okay.
Yes. There's probably going to be... And then I think annual pass have a significant bump in price, or they're going to split it out.
Okay.
He does that, where it's like...
Okay.
Do you want to add the water park package?
Uh-huh.
It's probably going to be a similar thing.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean...
And the reason for that in this industry are tricky. Universal definitely wants to have one because, again, it changes your one-day visit to potato visit, where you're now going to add a hotel and you're going to stay on Universal instead of doing a 5-day visit to Orlando where you're staying on Disney property for those 4 nights. And
one pass, they're going to add that on, and now your vacation's turned into a larger vacation. It's going to do more things.
Yeah. Oh, I was on a roll. I was going somewhere with it. I forgot. We can always talk about it next time. I was talking about how for them, it's water parks are tricky because when you're at a water park, you don't have your wallet on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And versus when you're walking around Magic Kingdom and you have a fast pass for something, in that downtime between you having especially if it's a busy day,
of course,
between you going to your next and whatever else, you're kind of like, well, I guess I'll go into a gift shop. I'll spend some money.
Of course.
Because the most what you're going to get is on Splash Mountain.
Right.
And every
or
ride,
eating.
Or you're going to eat.
Right.
Exactly. So you're spending money. At a water park, you're not spending money.
Right.
So for Universal, it's more of a play for the resort factor of your space at Universal. Even for Disney, it's the same thing. Like you're going to buy a 5-day park hopper and add the water park package because you're staying on Disney property. Water parks are not a big moneymaker from like that ancillary revenue of buying a Mickey pretzel.
Right.
And all that. Like, you might sell sunscreen.
Yeah, like some ice cream.
Yeah,
like drink.
You're going to go back to your lot. You're going to sell...
Most people bring anyways, but to a water park, it's more of a hassle.
The things you're going to sell at a water park are like the money, like the little money thing that you can wear around your neck.
Yeah.
Lockers, which you're going to sell. Towels, which you're going to sell. Sunscreen. But your regular merchandise, and that, for the theme parks, that's a big thing. Even for food, like, yeah, maybe you'll eat lunch there, but you might not.
Right.
If anything, it would be like a quick, cheap kind of lunch just because, like, you're wet.
Yeah.
What do you really want to eat when you're wet? Not a whole lot. Like, you're going to get, like, meats.
Right, right.
So that's the whole theme park. Not theme park trouble, but, like, water parks are interesting beast. But I think in the case of Disney and Universal, especially Universal right now, it is how do we really get people to understand that we are not one park? How do we get people to better understand that we have our own hotels? That we have more than one park?
Right. Are they marketing it as a Universal water park? Is it like Universal's Volcano Bay?
It is. It's Universal's Volcano Bay. Yep.
Interesting. Because water parks in general, anyways. But like, you just never hear anybody talk about water parks, which I'm excited for them to build one. But I am a little concerned. Like, what if it doesn't follow through with you? What if nobody goes? It's in a great spot for like advertisement. But Universal's in kind of a weird little area anyway, where it's kind of inconvenient to get out of. It's very weird.
Yeah, they're an interesting nook.
At least Disney has its property,
Yeah.
right? Like
that's
a huge value thing. Like you know when you get there.
Yeah.
But Universal has hotels, but like I don't really even know where they are.
No,
you kind of see them. They're kind of hidden, but I don't really know. There's other hotels in the area, so I don't know whose hotels are whose.
Yeah.
Maybe they're all theirs. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's a different vibe for sure. They're working on making it feel more like if you pay attention to the big globe signs that are overhead, like you'll start to piece it together. It's not as clear as it is over here, where it's like Epcot Resort hotels.
Right. But they're learning.
They're learning.
They're learning. Yeah.
I mean,
they're hungry too.
Yeah. Comcast has been pumping money into the theme parks.
Yeah.
They love it. They love it. They love the theme parks. The theme parks have been making a lot of money for Comcast. It's for them stream. And again, they don't have the movie slate that Disney has. Where Disney, it seems like the focus is shifting more towards the studios.
Of course.
Because every month there's at least 1 or 2 Disney movies that are going to make like $800 million. Like Beauty and the Beast, it's going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Even if it's not good, it's going to make $1 billion.
Right.
They're positioning it.
I'm curious how much it's going to make.
Yeah. I think it's going to probably make like 1.2. They're positioning it almost as their own Titanic. Look at even the talent. Titanic, they're trying to make this their Titanic. You know what I mean? This is their love. This is going to be they're trying to...
All I knew was Ariana Grande and John Legend.
Yeah.
I mean,
and supposedly it's a decent version. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I haven't heard it. I like John Legend. Not crazy about Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
But, that's the thing with the water parks. I had something else other than ancillary revenue piece. Oh, Universal is going to be trying out... They have been testing inside... I tried it the other day to get on the Minion Run. Almost like a thing where you got a ticket to come back at a return time.
Uh-huh.
They completely shut a ride. And a low-capacity ride. It only has one theater. They shut down the general queue.
Huh.
So you couldn't stand in line.
Okay.
You had to get a return ticket.
Okay.
And it was back at 4:30 to ride it.
Yeah.
At Volcano Bay, from what they kind of announced, I don't know if it's going to be completely that way. They're going to want to go on this slide. We're going to give you, I think you're going to wear something similar to a Magic Band. You're going to get it digitally and come back later.
So who gets to ride it at that point then? The people who waited earlier?
I guess whoever got there first, right? Whoever got there first time
in the morning. Just get in line? If everyone's coming back later, that's just one line.
Their way. Well, they're going to stagger it just the way FastPass is. Your return time is 10:20, mine's 10:30, his is 10:40. Their way of trying to solve what I was where you don't have your wallet and you're wet. I think this is their way of trying to. Well, it's 10:30. My return time for that slide is 1.
Yeah.
So between now and then, I could on that band could be the way right. Like Disney's even tried that. That's one of the reasons why the Magic Band is waterproof. Is so you get a hotel pool, you can go get a beef. If you're at Blizzard Beach, you can go get a burger.
You can pay with it, right?
You can pay.
Yeah, you can pay. That's right. Dumb question.
Well, you can pay with it if it's tied to a hotel.
Okay.
You can't if you're just like a regular guest, which is so stupid. Like just like an Apple Watch, where like it's linked to my credit card. At Volcano Bay, I think I'm hoping that they're smart enough to make it so it's just tied to your credit card.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna need a PIN. So, God forbid, like, I find yours at the bottom of the wave pool. I can't just go on a spending spree with it.
Right.
I'd have to still know But I think that's going to be their way to try to figure out how to get people to keep spending money while they're at the water park.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to be buying plush at a water
park.
You
can pack that stuff around at a pool.
Nah, you're not going to be buying wands or whatever.
Christmas shopping.
If anything, you're going to buy a $12 beer.
Yeah.
Burrito. Like Mom's going to buy a margarita.
Right.
And wait for the next slide to come up. So, yeah, but... Again, they're not that moneymaker.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if they're going to get you at the gate.
Yeah.
That's where they make the money. Here, not so much. I mean, here it's going to be more about we're a resort.
Yeah.
And your family's going to stay here for a couple days now at one of our hotels versus going to Disney.
Of course.
And
just stopping by Universal for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Just, you worked there before. We know that people have come in and out of, we're going to go to Universal tomorrow. Like, Universal's always like that set option.
It's an extra. It's hey, yeah, we're going to Disney for a week, and we might go to Universal for a day.
Yeah. I know there are people, like, from back home where they go down to Universal, but they go down for Harry Potter. That's really it. And that's something I've heard. Since the place was built, I've heard more and more people say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go to Florida. We're gonna go to the Harry Potter world." It's generally the general conception is that Disney's for kids, and then when Harry Potter was introduced, that was something to pull that audience down there to have them something to do, and they might stop by at Disney, but they definitely go down for Harry Potter.
I think that it was announced. It was in the Orlando Sentinel and everything. Attendance this year in Orlando.
Yeah.
It was not because of an alligator. It was not because of the pulse shooting.
Right.
I think it was the lack of new things to do in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think New Fantasyland was the attendance driver, or in Orlando.
Well, I thought about that. They didn't really they advertised it, but like not in a way that made you think that, man, this is coming.
Well, no, you're right. They did some cool advertising for New Fantasyland, but I don't think it was. It doesn't compete with Potter, is what I'm saying. Like, I think what got people to Orlando, I think the attendance bump that we saw in Orlando since 2010 has nothing to do with anything Disney did.
Right.
Not New Fantasyland, not updating with an extra scene.
Right.
It was the fact so much
to do Universal.
Yeah, particularly Potter.
Yeah, exactly.
So in 2010 or 2011 when Hogsmeade opened.
Well, two sections.
That's what I'm saying.
In a very short window.
Yeah, it was. I think the Hogsmeade, and then I think it was 2014 that Diagon Alley opened, and it was. And I think it was because of the fact that now that we're gonna go see Diagon Alley,
right?
I've seen it.
There's
nothing new at Disney to go see that is like, oh, you have to see it. I'm gonna go see it. I think most people, it's not Star Wars as far as an IP goes. Like an Indiana Jones land or like a land that Harry Potter though, like
that came out 10 years ago. Maybe
2008, right?
2008 or 9. December. Maybe could be wrong. One of the ones.
But I think you get what I'm saying. There is the attendance bump that happened down here. Nothing to do with anything Disney was doing. Right. I think the attendance bump that occurred in Orlando for the last 5 years, from 10 to 15, was all because of Potter.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been causing Universal to like.
Skyrocket.
King Kong didn't do anything.
Of course
King
not.
Kong didn't do anything. He might not even get anybody in the park.
I don't think it will.
Jimmy Fallon
the type of people that like the majority of people that go see that movie aren't coming to Florida to go to a theme park.
No.
They're not bringing their family to go ride the Fast and the Furious ride.
They might be bad. That was like theme parks. If his family's already in Orlando anyway, he might say, I really want to do the Fast and Furious ride.
Of course.
Because Dad likes Dodge Chargers and all that. And everything else. Like he's not
right, of course not.
But Dominic Toretto, that's what you're going to get.
Of course.
But I don't think, as much as I love Jimmy Fallon, I think that's going to cause a major attendance.
Right.
I don't think Fast and Furious is going to cause him. Will? In 2019, 2020, whenever it may happen. I don't even think a Nintendo world can cause an attendance bump.
There's going to be a third Harry Potter world?
That's the rumor.
Huh.
That's the rumor. I think...
Okay.
Has 4 more movies coming out?
Or 4.
My money would be on that. Plus, once talked about this, at Universal Studios Florida, there's already an old New York section.
Right.
Transform it.
Yeah. Turn
it into something really cool.
Of course.
The American version. And from a merchandise now sell all the... J.K. Rowling talked about how there's an American version of Hogwarts. I forgot the name of it. And there was like 4 houses, the same way that there was for like, Hufflepuff, Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw.
Right.
The American version has 4 houses.
Huh.
So now we can sell 4 more colors of merchandise.
Of course.
Theme park, whatever. I'm saying.
Of course. It's even going to build the Nintendo world. Is that even going to think? I know
they're smart. So one of the reasons that the mine train supposedly took so long is because, like, it's in the Shanghai.
Mm.
The Chinese government is a partner in that park.
Mm-hmm.
So they were paying for part of the engineering of that ride. And one of the reasons that ride got so held up, the rumor is because, like, Disney didn't want to pay for the engineering. And, like, you know what I mean? The full design, like, no, like, yeah, we're designing. So we're going to put one here. But let's, like, they were waiting for it to hit. You know what I mean? They were waiting for it to, until they weren't going to fully design it.
Okay.
They're going to design it once.
Right.
And pay for it.
So it's the exact same ride.
Exact same ride. Okay. Identical. And getting Nintendo.
Its own separate.
Well,
or is it Universal over there?
As part of their Universal.
Okay.
And I think in the same case, it's going to be engineered and designed
Mm-hmm.
using the investors from Universal Japan. It's already designed, system's already built.
Mm-hmm.
All
Copy and paste.
yeah for Comcast way to save money.
Yeah.
Like I paid for part of the R&D, they paid for most of it. So for me to clone it
Mm-hmm.
or make 2 of it, I benefit 100%. Same way for stuff that we developed for Shanghai Disneyland. Man, yeah, like if it costs $1 million or whatever it is by having the Chinese government or whatever it is pay for part of it, great.
Right.
You know, I think it took like 4 years to develop the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That anticipation, that's a whole nother topic we could talk about. So long for Avatar to open, my anticipation goes up, or like my expectations go up.
Yeah.
When it takes you this long to do something, like
You better knock it out of the park.
if you're working on a painting for 4 years,
Yeah.
I finally come and see the painting and it sucks.
Asian.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, and quickly about the thing is they're trying so hard to not make Animal Kingdom a zoo.
Yeah.
When in reality, sorry, Animal Kingdom is a zoo. And you know what? And all it takes, sorry, to be like kind of just broad, but all it takes is some soccer mom to go to Animal Kingdom, come back home. Hey, how was Animal Kingdom? Oh, it was really cool, but it's like a zoo. That's all it takes. You can try as hard as you can with billboards, advertisements. The animals are still behind cages. In fact, you barely even see the things. It's still a zoo. And I don't think Avatar Land is going to
Break that.
It's not going to break it. I think Avatar's irrelevant. I don't think the people that did watch it in theater got it home and they said, oh yeah, we never watch it. The appeal was the theatrical experience.
Which at the time was 3D.
Of course.
And was brand new.
Exactly. And that movie was made for that type of 3D. And I don't know that's the right word, developed that 3D for that movie specifically.
Plus, again, like, you got to think of the cinema at that time.
Of course.
The Marvel Universe. That movie came out in 2009.
Yeah, 8 or 9.
8 or 9. Guess when the first cinematic universe movie came out?
8.
2008. Iron Man.
Really that
came out in May. May was Iron Man, and then in June was Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So that was the start of that. So Marvel Universe didn't exist.
Right. And it came out in the middle of December against like
nothing.
crappy movies.
It's nothing. Like probably the Winnie the Pooh movie or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it was Princess and the Frog and like The Spy Next Door with Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
There was nothing, and that was at a time too where blockbuster movies weren't coming out in December. That's something we've only seen recently with special movies like Star Wars. Like usually the summer was for that, but we've seen it spread over to March, now all the way to December, November. Like Doctor Strange came in November. Star Wars has come out in December both years. It's going to continue to do so. I mean, so Avatar, that was like I think that was just a once in a lifetime kind of.
I think if it came out right now, do what it did.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I anticipate they're going to make money. That'd be ridiculous. I think they won't. I think they're going to make money, but how much? And are people going to be impressed? Because the thing is, you saw Avatar, and you never seen like that. You never saw anything like that before. Then you get it home, you realize what it is. Now, are you going to go see another one? Like, I wouldn't. I'm not. I don't.
If it's not good, because he's talking about 3.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a standalone movie.
Yeah, they're going to be introduction
I
movies.
hate that.
Setup movies.
I mean, I love Back to the Future, but I'm not crazy about like 2 and 3 are still good for as a trilogy goes. 2, because the story's not done.
Right.
Like, it goes right.
Which I've seen like bits and pieces of 3.
It's okay.
But I'm disappointed that that's the payoff. Go through 2 just to get to that.
Yeah.
Because I like 2, for most of it.
For what it is, yeah.
And then why would you ever go there?
It would almost would have been better if they went to the Old West first. And
Right.
then went to the future.
The return would be,
Because it was pretty cool. It was like cool for 19 whatever year that came out, 89, like that was,
yeah.
you know?
Something like that, yeah.
89 I think was when they came out. 2 and 3.
And another, same with Pirates of the Caribbean, another movie, second one in.
No.
The Back to the Future, and same with Star Wars, the two, no idea or thought of an extension.
It was not A New Hope.
Right.
Star Wars.
Yeah, period. Right. So, yeah.
Some stuff, man.
Yeah.
Last thing, and we can talk about it more next time. I think the reason at the Avatar IP, at the time they did not, and at the time Universal just made bank on Harry Potter. They had to lock up an IP that if Disney didn't get it, Universal was sure to go after it.
Yeah.
Because it was $1 billion IP at the time. and prevent them from getting it, especially because Universal has a relationship with James Cameron. Mm-hmm. The term T2 3D, and it was albeit.
I was surprised they didn't jump on it first. Then
old.
Yeah.
Him and Gary Goddard, I think, were the two that worked on it together. James Cameron. They worked together so close on that.
Yeah.
And it was at the time when it came out, it was Terminator 2 3D somehow, but I think that's why Disney probably threw like a boatload of money at James Cameron and said, "Joe Rohde on this," which they did.
Yeah.
Our best Imagineer right now, and I'm sure he still has creative control.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no expectations just because it's irrelevant to me at this point. If I was Disney, I would have completely. I know it's risky. I get it, but I would have completely all in on like they had planned to, a mythical beast area. Create some original IP. You may not cash in now, but you build it up long enough. You take your time. You wait. You build some unique original ride specific to that area. You can now. You 20 years from now, you want to do it, make a movie. Ruin your you ruin it. Fine, but you create Avatar. And it only exists in that little box of Avatar. You can't really expand on that any more than what it is. And it's the end, period.
I've said it before that the lack of original IP coming out of the park division is such a bad idea.
Yeah. Because
you have some brilliant minds in Imagineering that come up with these original ideas. It's easy to make anything based on a movie.
Yeah.
Cars Land? Yeah. It's easy. It already...
Right.
Radiator Springs Racers is a great ride.
Oh, it's fantastic.
But
and the theming's great. But the hard work's already been done.
Cool because I feel like I'm walking through the movie.
Right.
Walking through Diagon Alley is cool because I feel like I'm walking through the movie set. But to me that's easy. Bringing something like that to life is easy because it was already done.
But when you walk through, for me, when I walk through Adventureland or Frontierland, I'm not walking through a movie set. No. I'm walking through a real place.
Yep.
This is real.
The Murphy movie was terrible.
Right.
But as an IP, the Haunted Mansion is so strong.
Oh, yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, with or without the movies. And plus, that IP fed the movies.
Of course.
That's,
I think, they've kind of lost sight of that.
And right now, no original content being really made. We're making sequels. We're making more loosely based on the comics. Mm-hmm. We're making more Star Wars movies that continue an already existing saga. Uh-huh. So you're getting some new material, some new characters like Rey and Finn, but it's still part of something that already existed. The park's IP was new stuff.
They're the ones that aren't based off movies. Big Thunder Mountain, Space Caribbean, Space Mountain. A movie
so loosely based.
No one would be able to know that. As long as you don't mention that nowadays, it's okay, fine, it's a movie. I mean, you have so many